Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, get ready to spend the next 2 hours with our 3 sports-loving ladies. Mia O'Brien, Lauren Brooks, and Taylor Dahl.
Hey, hey.
This is Helmets and Heels
On 1010XL, switched on by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
Show me what you got, pretty lady.
You know what's better than one football practice in a day, ladies?
Multiple football practices.
That is correct.
Multiple football practices that
Two
are
football
within
practices.
walking distance of each other. Thank
great.
you. Round of applause. Dylan Denmark sitting in for RJ Saunders, if you can find that sound effect for us. Thank you, Hurricane Debbie. Never thought I'd say that. Thank you, Florida State officials, by moving practice to the Flex Field from the University of North Florida, where they are staying over the next 2 days. Because, man, oh, man, did that make life easy for the 1010XLers and so many local media here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, logistics were fantastic. And look, we'll start with Jaguars. I'll get to FSU in a little bit, but we'll start with Jaguars. It
Do
is.
you burn a little watching Florida State?
I don't just
Is
because.
she the witch from Wizard of Oz? Instead of melting, she burns,
She
Taylor?
starts melting.
Yeah, that makes me sound like the devil or something. But no, I mean, I think I am an objective viewer, I feel like, of football practices.
Media,
Yeah, games certainly might be a little bit different, but practices for sure. And so you always go into it with an idea of, let me see what the quarterback does. That's what you want to see first and foremost. And so I guess we don't start with Jags. Let's start with FSU.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell, a couple of observations. One, that man screams like nobody's business.
Oh, he's a maniac, as Matt Hayes tweeted.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah. He
maniac
said
in the
he's a
most
lunatic.
endearing way. There's a reason the Florida State social channels thrive off of him sprinting into practice, screaming like a lunatic.
Yeah. So because we're outside normally at Jags practice, but even when they are inside at the Miller Electric Center, I've never once heard Doug Peterson scream the way, and again, it's different between NFL and college, but scream the way that Mike Norvell does. And when he gets excited about something, I watched him closely during some one-on-ones, and I mean, he will jump and slap the helmet. He'll scream again and get all excited. And then I saw number 37 for FSU had an interception, and then for fun, he ran it all the way down in for a touchdown. And Mike Norvell, after that, I mean, jumped on this kid's back. And it was like, this is why they love playing for him.
Oh, yeah,
That's my biggest takeaway, is that he is in their face. He is coaching hard. And is DJ Uiagalelei going to be excellent? I don't know. I didn't get to see enough of him. Disclaimer, I couldn't watch all of practice because I had to come back here. And also, they did a ton of special teams today. I don't know if that's how they're going to run practice tomorrow, but a ton, like an hour of special teams, which is certainly important and vital too. So I didn't get to see DJ do any sort of teamwork today. His throwing motion is, I would say, okay. It's not great, but I'm sure that they're working on that. And I saw a lot more of the defensive backs making plays today than I did completions for the offense. But again, it was a very short sample size. And I do think last year when I left FSU practice and joined the Frangie show, I said, wow, this team is going to be really good. Today, leaving practice, I think they have some serious players. Like Lawrence Toafili is huge, the running
I
back.
heard they had a lot
Which
of
is
big guys.
crazy because he was one, I don't want to say 160 soaking wet when he was a freshman during the 2020 season, but he has grown into that frame.
Yeah, and certainly they have some guys along the lines of scrimmage that are massive, and they work, a ton with those guys as far as the one-on-ones are concerned, and it was good to see both sides of the ball winning. And I pointed out to our good friend Mark Long that number 67 is Richie Leonard, who played at Florida the last 2 years. And now he's expected to be a starter on this FSU team, so it was fun watching him. But
I think Ira was talking about, because Ira was on with the Frangie show yesterday, and he was talking about some of the additions in general, but he was talking about we got him from Florida.
Exactly, yeah. And so I like I said, I don't want to compare this team to last year because it is so different with all the veteran leadership that they had a season ago. But certainly with FSU's schedule, they'll be a good team this year.
Are you expecting, just obviously small glimpses, and you said you saw a lot more of special teams and defense-wise, but just in general, are you expecting this team to be more of a defensive team than an offensive team this year?
I think to start out with, because that's where they have some serious guys as far as Patrick Payton and Josh Farmer as far as the nose tackle is concerned. They have Marvin Jones Jr. as well. That defensive front, even though they did lose guys to the draft, is still really talented. So I do think they'll have guys drafted in the first round yet again from there. And then I thought the cornerbacks in the secondary played well. Again, though, this was more like red zone and 4v4 versus the whole team period. And if they did that at the end, then I didn't get to see it. But I do think that Mike Norvell is a guy that there's no surprise to me after watching him last year and this year up close. That's why he can get guys out of the transfer portal so easily because they feel
that energy too.
Yeah, they want that type of coaching, that style.
And then, and it's funny though because when you hear him talk, he's very like cool, calm, and collected.
That's because he's hoarse.
Because he's like, I'm a little tired.
For 3 hours, so
but it is, and it's nice to have that balance. Like during practice and during games, you feel the energy from your coach, but he's not losing it on the podium when he has to answer serious questions.
My question, and obviously everything begins and ends with who the quarterback is, but I think one of my sneaky under the radar takes heading into the 2024 season, especially out in Tallahassee, is that as much as so much will be made about losing Keon Coleman, losing Johnny Wilson to the NFL draft and to graduation, I can't help but look at this depth chart and the wide receivers they have, knowing they brought Malik Benson in from the portal, knowing what Ja'Kai Douglas was able to do in limited action yesterday, ditto to Deuce Spann, or last year, ditto to Deuce Spann, Hakeem Williams. I can't help but feel like that depth chart, that room is not going to skip a beat. It obviously, Lauren, is just a question of can the ball be delivered to them on time?
Yeah, and I do think that you'll see somewhat of a short leash for DJ if he's not playing well. And I'm not predicting that he's not going to play well, but I do think he's been a little bit more inconsistent than obviously what Florida State has had in the past with Jordan Travis. And so there are some other guys in that room that I think Mike Norvell would say, all right, if things aren't going well, I'm going to turn it over to a guy like Luke Kromenhoek, who's one of Denny's guys, or maybe, we see Brock Glenn get a little bit of experience. I don't, like I said, I barely saw DJ throw today.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and say he's losing his job week 2. I'm not saying that at all. But I will say, and maybe it's because I see Trevor Lawrence day in and day out, or Mac Jones day in and day out. Those are two guys picked, obviously, in the first round of the NFL draft. So then comparing DJ, it's like, oh, yeah, he doesn't look like those guys. But that's an unfair comparison.
Right. I think that's in general, going from the NFL to college, or even going from watching a college practice to watching a high school practice. The good news, ladies, the bottom line, in the words of our dear friend and former Florida State fullback James Coleman, is that you look at this Florida State team and they look like they should be playing Division I college football, because it is crazy to think it was only
that it did not.
3 years ago that his son, to your point, Lauren, his son, who at the time I believe Trey was 8, and he obviously was around high school practices because James coaches over at Mandarin. He had been around the Jags a little bit. He'd been around Florida State, and he asked his father whether or not this was a high school or a college practice. That was 3 years ago. And I just want to put that into context of how far Mike Norvell and this roster development has come.
He could have probably competed for a spot on the roster.
Right, at 8 years old at that point in time.
But I do think, Mia, to your point, and I know obviously a lot relies on DJ and how ready he is and how quickly some of these connections form. But I do think it is beneficial that he's put in a place to succeed, and they've built enough offensively that he doesn't have to be perfect. And I feel like there were moments the last couple years where Jordan Travis did kind of have to make certain things happen. And maybe DJ's in a place now where it looks like they're building these offense to be like, you don't have to be perfect. Just do enough. Don't make a ton of mistakes, and they can win football games.
And they can run the ball. That is a big help. And yes, I understand that the Noles lose Trey Benson also to the NFL draft. But I would like to think there's still enough in the cupboard there that they will be able to be two-dimensional, multi-dimensional at that.
And I'm genuinely curious, too, because we talked, too, about DJ's numbers and how much he ran at Clemson back in 2020, and then that's kind of slowly faded away. I wonder if they'll open that up a little bit more, too, if they need to, because he has, obviously, the capability.
Yeah, and I think that for the answer to that, Taylor, we got to go all the way back to, what was his name? Brady White was the last quarterback that Mike Norvell had at Memphis. Mm-hmm. He wasn't much of a runner. I don't know if that was just based off his skill set, because I think Mike Norvell has clearly shown he will adapt to whatever the skill set of his quarterback is, because I don't think he went into Florida State saying, I need a quarterback who's a dual threat, because he got to Florida State and he did not in any which way hand Jordan Travis the job. Jordan Travis had to earn that job, had to find a way with that skill set to continue to develop, and then the offense around him was built based on that. But it wasn't like he showed up and said, yeah, we need to run the ball. Yeah, we need to run the ball. The quarterback needs to be able to run.
Yeah, so Florida State, most people know, begin their season in Dublin against Georgia Tech, then home against Boston College. That Boston College offense certainly a year ago gave FSU problems. And then since you mentioned Memphis, Mia, week 3, FSU plays host to Memphis, Mike Norvell's former school. Then FSU plays host to Cal, then at SMU. I think there are some games in there that certainly to start off with Georgia Tech finished the season pretty well last year. There are some games that are tricky.
Garrett told us. Miles Garrett of Fox
surprise.
5 said Georgia Tech will be the surprise of the ACC. Of course, then we talked to AJ Black from up at Boston College, 247 Sports, and he was like, Boston College will be the surprise of the ACC. One of them is going to surprise Lauren.
Definitely.
And yes, the Noles have to face both of them.
Yeah,
pretty early on. Yeah, they basically face them. They literally face them out of the gate.
Yeah, and then the first weekend in October is when FSU plays host to Clemson. So I don't look at this schedule and say, oh, well, FSU just has to figure out the quarterback by Clemson. I think there are some teams that can give them some problems, whether it is Georgia Tech, Boston College, maybe even SMU. There, I'm not going to say that Cal is going to give FSU
Because here's
problems.
the thing. We've spoken so much about how the Jaguars defense, as great as it has looked at times, the offense needs to be ready in case of a shootout against the Miami Dolphins week 1, just by virtue of knowing the firepower in that offense. With Haynes King under center for Georgia Tech, with Tommy Castellanos, one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country, under center for Boston College, and now in his second year in that system, the first under Bill O'Brien, I would argue offensively, the Noles have to be ready for a shootout in both of those games.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see, and the fact that now we're just a couple weeks away is so exciting. That FSU Georgia Tech game, of course, kicks off August 24th at noon. All right, when we come back, I mentioned Mac Jones. Mia caught up with him after Jaguars practice. We'll also get it to her training camp observations from today. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update brought to you by USAPark.net Airport Parking.
USWNT Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games. Coming off Monday's win over Brazil, the 4-0 U.S. men's volleyball team is looking to remain perfect and advance to the gold medal match as it takes on Poland in the semifinals at this hour. After dropping the first set, the Americans came back to win the next 2. The winner advances to the gold medal match to play the winner of today's second semifinal between Italy and France. The U.S. added to its Olympic leading medal count this morning. American Hampton Morris won bronze in weightlifting. The U.S. can add more medals to the tally as California skateboarders Tate Carew and Tom Schaar compete in the men's park final, which is underway. Midway through the second run, the Americans sit in second and third as they get ready for their final run. Gavin Bodker, the 2023 world champion, surprisingly failed to qualify. The women's golf tournament started today, and California native and world number 2 Lilia Vu is tied for third, 5 shots off the pace. With this Summer Games update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, WestwoodOne Sports.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate. Not a rate based on Terry who keeps and makes the car behind them. Oh no, they're about to. Save with DriveWise and the Allstate app and only pay a rate based on you.
Not available in every state, subject to terms and conditions. Rating factors and savings vary, and in some states your rate could increase with high-risk driving. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Mia O'Brien here for my friends at Duck Duck Rooter. If water flows through it, the team at Duck Duck can install it or repair it. From septic tank pump outs, drain field installations, clog drains, water heaters to repipes, they do it all, and they do it well. But don't just take my word for it. Check out their Google reviews online and see what customers just like you are saying about their experience with Duck Duck Rooter. Duck Duck Rooter is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit duckduckrooter.com to schedule service today.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
This patriotic chant mirrors the enthusiastic efforts our American athletes have dedicated to their quest for a gold medal at this summer's Olympics in Paris. USAPark.net Airport Parking is your safe and secure parking for when you fly out of JIA. No matter where you're going, whether you're traveling to the Olympics to support our athletes or just visiting Grandma, remember to park at USAPark.net.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dreamfinders Homes was the builder for me. A big reason why? Their unbeatable interest rates. Seriously, right now, take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. Find your dream home, take advantage of unbeatable rates, and move in today. I'll say it again, folks. 2.99% year one rate. That's basically unheard of across the country. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Helmets and heels.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Mia here, and we've all been there before. A weekend trip to the casino? Canceled because real life came calling. MyBookie's new and improved online casino is here to change the game. Dive into a truly realistic casino experience featuring the latest in slots, progressive jackpots, and live dealer action, all from the comfort of your own home. The live casino is so easy to use. Just go to MyBookie and click Live Casino at the top. You'll find live dealers ready to deal or spin just like you're at the casino. The MyBookie Casino provides a Las Vegas experience when the action's in the palm of your hands and you don't even need to wear pants. Start at MyBookie today with a generous sign-up bonus using promo code 1010XL. A revamped loyalty program ensures a host of exclusive VIP perks. Sign up and hit the casino with promo code 1010XL. The more you play, the more you win, only with MyBookie.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Lowe, and I want to talk to you about letting things roll off of your back. So often we can make big deals out of things that are not really big deals. We can allow them to steal the joy of our day. But let me remind you that don't allow anyone or anything to steal the joy of today. Go out today not letting little things steal the big things that God has in store for you.
For more inspiration, log on to stjohnthedivine.com.
See the world through the eyes of a linebacker.
I tell it like I see it, and I see it like a middle linebacker.
Tom McManus joins Jaguars Today every Friday morning.
Period.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Looking for a new or used firearm? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach will get you locked and loaded. New firearms coming in weekly and always looking for used guns. No lines and no waiting. Online at beachesjewelryandpawn.com.
There are three certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheaper discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is now offering ortho walk-in appointments. If you have an immediate need for orthopedic care, contact Southeast Orthopedic Specialist immediately. Avoid ERs and urgent care waiting rooms. For more information, go to se-ortho.com.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up, Oscar!
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey, I'm not going to make Dylan Denmark work that hard as he sits in for RJ Saunders for the first hour of our program today, but I would ask for a triple that if I could, because breaking news just flying in to 1010XL headquarters. Let's begin in the National Football League. Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Josh Downs suffered an ankle injury today. According to reports from training camp out in Indianapolis, Nick Cross, the defensive back out of Mississippi State, dragged Josh Downs to the ground during team periods. Shane Steichen not too happy with the physicality, perhaps after the whistle was blown. But, hey, according to Nick Cross, they're just out there to play football, and that's what he was doing. Shane Steichen not too happy with the situation out there in Indianapolis, so we will keep you posted on Downs' status moving forward. Rondale Moore also carted off of the practice field at training camp in Arizona, another situation that we are monitoring. And finally, Lauren...
Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot he's in Atlanta now. It starts with an A. And finally, Lauren, this one I know you can't wait to read. Jim Harbaugh has been reprimanded by the NCAA again. Do tell me, how exactly does the NCAA plan to punish Jim Harbaugh this time?
Yeah, Bruce Feldman reports the NCAA has punished him with a 4-year show cause penalty through August of 2028 for unethical conduct and recruiting violations. But he's coaching in the NFL, and he's not going to be coaching in college in the next 4 years, so it doesn't matter.
But if he does, Lauren, then he would be suspended for a full season. But now he knows, just don't go anywhere near the college ranks for the next 4 years.
But he's going to get 4 years regardless with the Los Angeles Chargers, so I think this is a complete waste of time by the NCAA, but that's not the first, nor will it be the last. All right, Mia, you caught up with backup quarterback Mac Jones today. Was he as quiet as
Mac
Jones? Was he as quiet as Brian Thomas Jr. was after practice?
No. Mac Jones, man. I mean, listen, he's just having fun out there. I know those have been the reports. I know there's those of you who've been asking, like, in the weeds, like, charting him. How well does he? He looks like he's having fun. He looks like he's playing loose. I understand part of that is he's back in his hometown. I understand that part of that is that he actually has an offense coordinator who coaches offense and not defense, but just a very relaxed, rejuvenated character who, let's be real, was made for TV, made for radio.
I'd also say Doug is a bit different than Bill.
Yes, just a little bit. And in particular, I think you guys will appreciate what Mac had to say about his opportunity ahead of him during the preseason.
The pride of Jacksonville, Mac Jones. Mac, how's it going?
Good.
Coming off a pretty intense practice there.
Yeah, it was good. I thought it was a good day. We had a good off day, so really just looking forward to finishing the week strong and playing in the game.
Let's start big picture here. What has been the most fun outside of football that you have had since you've gotten back home to Jacksonville?
That's a great question. Honestly, probably just bringing my dog to the beach for the first time. That was pretty crazy. Like, she didn't understand what the sand was, so kind of just seeing her reaction to the beach was really funny. And she's tiny. She's like 5 pounds, but she'll run into the water and like grab a tennis ball and stuff. So
Did
that
you
was
get her
fun.
in New England or in Alabama?
We got her in New England my rookie year, and she was born in Ohio, but we got her to New England. So now she's down here, and she loves it. It's much better for her. She gets to go outside and hang out at the beach.
Full-fledged Florida dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. You seem to be having a lot of fun out here as well. I've got to ask, your relationship with Press Taylor. Let's start there because he's described it as a big brother, little brother situation.
Yeah, I'd say he's definitely my little brother. I'm just kidding. No, we definitely have that. I do feel like I'm his little brother, and we have like the same sense of humor kind of, so I think that's how we relate. And he's a very smart guy. He really understands X's and O. He's a guy that has studied the game a lot, and I've been impressed just with everything, and his ability to pull plays up in meetings and stuff is honestly the best I've seen. It'd be like, we ran that in 20 in Philly on play 45, like without even looking it up. So he has a great memory, so do I. So I think that's a great quality to have as a play caller and for a quarterback as well.
So for those who question Press, you say,
oh yeah, he's good. He's the real deal.
Guys you've seen.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's awesome. He's young. He's got great energy. He doesn't really like ride the wave too much. He kind of is just very consistent, and that's sometimes good for all of us quarterbacks, Trevor, me, and CJ. So I feel like we all fit together well in the room.
That quarterback room, of course, working with plenty of wide receivers. I know Press has said that's been an emphasis coming off of last year, getting reps with every single wide receiver. Yeah. What have you seen, especially from some of the younger guys beyond Christian and Gabe?
Yeah, it's been, it's my fourth camp, so it's been a really impressive group of young guys, undrafted guys. Obviously we drafted a receiver in the first round, and really those second-year guys too. Elijah Cooks is doing a really good job, and number 11, Parker Washington. So I've been really pleased with those guys to come in. I'm kind of a little bit of an older guy in my own way, so they're really up to speed already, and obviously the undrafted guys have done a really, really good job picking up the offense. Everybody, I love the group. I feel like they're together. Gabe and Christian, really hold that group down, I feel like, and they're kind of raising the standard, and all the young guys have met the standard, to be honest, and I want to make sure they do that on Saturday night. Don't let the lights be too bright. Just go out there and play, and it's going to be their first game for some guys, so I'm going to just stay positive, and we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to make plays, so that's kind of how the first preseason game goes.
What is your expectation for Saturday on the field in terms of how much playing time you think that you will have?
Yeah, I think preseason's always interesting. Been fortunate my rookie year, played a lot in the preseason, and I wanted to play the last 2 years in preseason, but didn't get a chance to play as much, so that's kind of something where, hey, I want to get in there and get the reps. I don't really care who it's with, right? I feel like what I said earlier, the standard and everything, but for me, it's just about trying to move the offense, staying calm, and letting things come to me. It's going to be a tough scheme that we're going to go against in the Chiefs, and they're not going to hold anything back. They never do in preseason, so it's always fun to go against a good defense, too.
Since you mentioned the young guys, a couple of young running backs as well that you're handing the ball off to. Yeah. What have you seen from, again, beyond Travis, what have you seen from that room? Yeah, I think it's great. I think Dearness has done a good job being a leader as well. He's very smooth out of the backfield. Tank's really come along well. He's made some really good cuts in the passing game, too. I know he's more of a downhill guy. I remember playing against him in college, but he really has some juice in the passing game. And yeah, I think the group is well-rounded. I think some of the undrafted guys, JJ and everybody, they're doing a really good job. And Gary just got here, a new guy. So I feel like it's a really well-rounded group. Keelan Robinson, I played with at Alabama. So I have familiarity with everybody, which is kind of cool. And I've met some new guys. And for me, I love throwing to the running backs. That's my safety blanket. And a lot of quarterbacks do. That's kind of your check down. So they're doing a good job. I forgot about those two connections. Of course, Tank with the Iron Bowl and then Keelan. Those two guys, what do they bring to the table that maybe fans may not be expecting?
Yeah, I think Tank is really motivated, and I'm not going to say he's listening to some of the noise, but I feel like he's motivated by that. And I know that I wasn't here last year, and having conversations with him, he's hungry. So that's what you want out of a running back. He has a lot of promise. You just got to keep working. Keelan, same thing, just staying healthy. I remember Alabama, I think he had like an 86 or 7-yard touchdown. One time I handed off to him, and he just shoots through the hole and scores. So anything could happen with him. He's not the biggest guy, but he's real dynamic, and he's one of the fastest, guys, but also players. You can be really fast, but he has game speed that is really legit, and I'm excited to see that.
As we wrap up with you, Mac, I think you told me you played Pop Warner at the stadium, right? So, but this will be the first time that you're playing on the field since that Pop Warner game.
Yeah, we didn't win. I think it was like 25-6. We played Sweetwater. It wasn't a good day for me, so I'm not going to look back on it. I'm excited to be in my hometown stadium, and I'm really just going to go out there and let it fly, and whatever happens, happens. So I'm looking forward to it.
How many friends and family are you expecting?
I mean, just my core people. I know there will be some friends and family that will be out there as well, and people I've seen recently and some people I probably haven't seen in a long time. But I'm going to try and just stay, level-headed and be like the ice man and just keep plugging along. Don't go too high or too low, and whatever happens, like I said, it's preseason. It's a fun time to play, but it's pretty wild out there, so I'm looking forward to it, though.
The Iceman, Mac Jones, thanks so much for joining us.
There you go. No pun intended.
The Iceman, Mac Jones. Again, he's bubbly, but he's cool, calm, and collected. Going to be a guiding mentor for some of those young players on Saturday. And I'm curious to see, and we were just discussing it, ladies, during the handoff with Jaguars today, how many snaps we will see from Trevor Lawrence versus for C.J. Beathard versus for Mac Jones.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think will be interesting also because I think it's to that point. Most people are expecting Mac Jones to be behind Trevor, but I do think that depending if they're keeping a third and what they're going to do in that quarterback room, there is some decisions that have to be made with some of these games coming up. But a lot of good things there when he's talking about, especially that running back room, we've talked about being such a concern last year and how we've all seen good things from it so far. For him to go on in such detail about how many, the cuts they're making and the speed, the game day speed, and all of this stuff for all three of the running backs that he was mainly talking about when it was Tank, Dearness, and Travis. But yeah, I mean, good stuff from him.
Mac, what's it like to actually have an offensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Oh, you like Press Taylor?
Well, that's why I was like, does he like him or does he just not know what one is until this year?
I mean, obviously he's had an offensive coordinator before, but then yes, Bill Belichick for one season decided to give him two defensive minds as an offensive coordinator. So I do think he's looking forward, like you said, to playing in the preseason. And it's always interesting to hear someone say, I wanted to play in the preseason as a quarterback.
And that's been such an interesting talking point as we look towards the potential for the NFL to only have 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games, what that would do to the schedule. Do you do away with the preseason entirely, especially if you collapse the off-season program into essentially an earlier start to training camp? Clearly, Mac Jones is in favor of those preseason games to get those reps before the bullets are really flying come the regular season.
We'll keep it on the Jaguars when we return, get to some training camp observations from today. Also, Mia has her midweek My Bookie picks. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM. At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Lauren Brooks here. Come test drive the Mazda CX-90, engineered to fit your lifestyle. Take advantage of 1.9% APR for up to 72 months on a 2024 Mazda CX-90, the largest 3-row SUV that Mazda offers. Our professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interest first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expire September 3rd, 2024.
It's the sale that's sweeping the nation. It's the national sales event, and it's going on now at Arlington Toyota. Mia here, and people love to ask me, why shop the national sales event at Arlington Toyota? 2 words for you: huge selection. Arlington's lot is packed with new Toyotas in stock in one location. But you ask Mia, is now the right time to buy? Let me put your mind at ease thanks to Arlington's 60-day exchange program. That's 60 days to love your new Toyota purchase or exchange it for one that you do. Worried about financing? There's the Arlington Credit Helper. You even get a complimentary car wash with every service. And did I mention, customers love Arlington. There's a 4.7-star rating and over 20,000 Google reviews online right now. I feel the love for sure, and you will too when you shop with our friends at Arlington Toyota. Don't wait. Now through September 3rd, shop the national sales event at Arlington Toyota. In person, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. Are you looking for an easy way to feed your friends and family this summer? Let your local Chick-fil-A restaurant cater your next gathering. Choose from a variety of trays, including Chick-fil-A nugget trays, mac and cheese, and of course, gallons of Chick-fil-A tea and lemonade, perfect for a get-together of any size. Place an order through the Chick-fil-A app, online, or by calling ahead and pick it up at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant, or get it delivered directly to your door. Enjoy more of the summer season with your loved ones when you take cooking off your plate with Chick-fil-A. See restaurant for details.
I've known Glenn Cohen for a long time as a friend and a lawyer. Persistent and fair, Glenn and his firm have represented clients from North Florida and South Georgia for over 40 years in all kinds of personal injury cases. If I had such a case, call Glenn at Barnes, Cohen, and Sullivan.
It's a Helmets and Heels Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville, and even though you're the place to go for fun, you're also a place to go for generators. People need generators.
And the Honda lineup is amazing. They make the super quiet model, inverter technology, the electricity super clean. You can have conversations with them. You can back up your whole house with a Honda generator. So we have them in stock, and we're ready to ride.
So you have generators big enough that could run everything in the house?
Absolutely.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency for generators.
This is Chelsea with Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors. Here's what people are saying about working with us.
Installers were professional, courteous, and efficient.
Great customer service. On time, explained the process, and walked me through the installation. Amazing team.
Our experience with Renewal by Andersen was outstanding from the beginning to end.
Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
Renewal by Andersen, Custom Windows and Doors.
Mark Watson with Hardball Creative. I know that hearing another ad for Jacksonville's best promo company interrupts Jacksonville's best sports talk, but at least it isn't a political ad. Check us out at hardballcreative.com.
Hardball Creative. Hardball does it all.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On August 7, 2007, San Francisco Giants slugger Barry Bonds hits his 756th career home run, breaking Hank Aaron's MLB record.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night and Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tea time and the good time.
Hi, it's Ben, second generation from Beards Diamonds. Guys, if you're popping the question soon, looking for an anniversary gift, before you buy anywhere, shop Beards. From a half carat to 10 carats, Beards will beat any competitor's price.
In the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jags defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen met with the media this morning ahead of the Jags' first preseason game against the Chiefs this Saturday. Nielsen discussed how important reps are in the preseason.
When it really gets to be game time to put the pads on, we treat everything every day like it's a game day. So we try to curve that first experience for them to be like, okay, it's really not that fast. But then when you get out there for the first time, with the player being a rookie or even a second-year player that hasn't played very much, there's a little bit of, and then, hey, fellas, it's still football, and, it's 11 on 11, and we're playing the same blocks and things like that, so it kind of slows down for them.
Sound courtesy from Jaguars.com. Catch the Jags versus the Chiefs game live on 1010XL with the kickoff show beginning at 2 and kickoff at 7. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, Dylan Denmark hanging out with us for the first hour of today's program. I'm Lauren Brooks. A little shaboozy for you on this Wednesday afternoon. All right, when I was out of practice earlier today, Mia, for the Jags, it was a brief period of time, but I saw one play that involved Brian Thomas Jr. and Tyson Campbell, and it looked to me like BTJ put Campbell on skates, and it was an exciting moment.
So that was not the play, the touchdown that
No.
everyone's talking about, but
No.
still another day and another example of why it was a great day for Brian Thomas Jr., who also met with reporters after practice. You'll hear that sound throughout the day here on the Superstation. He also had a really nice rep during team periods in which Antonio Johnson broke up a pass from Trevor Lawrence in the end zone. Otherwise, if BTJ holds on to that, that's 2 touchdowns, 2 reps with Trevor during team periods. And so, look, it was always going to be a slow build by virtue of how Doug Peterson and Press Taylor set up the offense in terms of the programming throughout the course of training camp. We've heard them say time and time again, we're not going to ask players to run 60 yards downfield day one because, number one, that's putting our players at risk for soft tissue injuries. And number two, we have to master those short to intermediate routes that plagued us a year ago before we build to that opportunity. And today, while it certainly wasn't a 65-yard bomb or something like that, I think, again, you're starting to see that this offense is building towards that truly. And it's not just lip service from those of us here on the radio or on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're seeing progress between certain connections like a BTJ and Trevor, but we're also seeing the secondary continue to do what we've seen from the start, which is also good because as the offense is getting better, the defense is still keeping up with them in these aspects, and you're seeing plays still by Antonio Johnson and Andre Sisco. I know yesterday, Mike Dempsey, their question of the day was, they're the top 5 players that have stood out in camp to you, who have impressed you in camp, and almost every single person, when you go through the comments, are talking about Antonio Johnson, they're talking about a Darby. Haven't said much about Brian Thomas Jr., so I'm glad we're finally seeing some of that because that is a name that hopefully by the end of camp is on this list of guys that have impressed you the most. But a lot of secondary guys, which to me makes me happy because it was one of the more position groups that had a lot of the questions.
Yeah, they certainly did because we weren't sure how the pieces were going to fit. And now that we've seen Ryan Nielsen's defense employed a little bit and we've been able to see where these guys are going to play, it's interesting that the depth chart, I think, is a little bit different than what we would have predicted as far as what we've seen them do. But like Ryan Nielsen said this morning, the depth chart is etched in sand, obviously not in stone, so don't be 100% believing what it says. But I do think that Antonio Johnson will be a starter, even though the depth chart didn't necessarily show him as a starter.
Oh, yeah. Let's dispel that. Let's dispel that right now. Like, not only is the depth chart etched in sand, the depth chart is truly a reflection of we're just trying to fit every single name on the roster somewhere. And so if there's a hole here where we could put somebody's name to ensure that they fit, like we're going to put them there. So
Chad is going to be busy.
Yeah. Well, and there's also still things to figure. I would be concerned if they had this depth chart that was already like, this is it. This is what you're going to see week 1. I would honestly be like, okay, well, maybe we don't have some of the competitions or depth that we thought we would have previously. What do you think the reaction here in Jacksonville would be if Andre Sisco laid out Brian Thomas Jr. in practice, and like we just heard from Josh Downs and Nick Cross? What do you think the reaction would be?
People would lose their minds.
Yeah.
That's why I think rightfully so Colts fans are losing their minds right now, because even if Josh Downs, akin to Brian Thomas Jr., is not the number 1 option at wide receiver, he's supposed to be an important piece for that offense.
Yeah.
And so that in and of itself, again, speaks to, I understand camp is supposed to be competitive, but you also got to keep guys safe and on their feet.
Speaking of that, I forgot to mention this when we talked about Florida State. There was a little skirmish going on there as well. So anytime you basically see football players in pads, don't be surprised if there's a little bit of not just, I would say, swinging, but also there were some connections too. I didn't see players' numbers by any means, but certainly there was 2 players that there was extracurricular activities after they were going on the one-on-ones, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, and they decided that they were going to, start swinging. And they immediately obviously broke it up, but don't be surprised when you see training camp fights throughout the NFL and college either.
Quick foray into Gatorland for some breaking news.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Billy Napier currently meeting with reporters in Gainesville. He confirms that Montrell Johnson, who had arthroscopic surgery earlier this month, is week to week. Timeline for his return is to be determined. The injury is considered, quote, minor. Again, we are not doctors, but we had the discussion yesterday.
Yeah, very minor.
Yeah, I mean, very minor, but it was a surgery of some kind. Lauren, you've been adamant. Matt Hayes echoed this when we spoke with him during Crosstalk yesterday, that they have enough horses for the course if Johnson can't go. But make no mistake about it, that running game runs through him first and foremost.
Yeah, obviously he's been with Billy Napier now for years, since he transferred from Louisiana with Napier. And so he knows everything about the system, and the offense certainly is looking to be able to relieve some pressure off of the new receivers there, other than Trey Wilson. And look, I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's a loss, but the bigger loss, like I said, was Trevor Etienne transferring to Georgia than it is Montrell Johnson with a minor, very minor knee injury with arthroscopic surgery. The moment that you saw tweets that he had the knee injury, that's when you got really concerned. And then those were followed up with, wait, it is actually more minor. And so obviously, you'd like him to be healthy week 1 against Miami, clearly, and maybe he will be. I think that's the good news from today's report, is Napier didn't say that he'll miss the first month of the season or anything like that. But yeah, I do think there are other guys in that running back room that, if necessary, if Montrell Johnson's not able to play week 1, that they'll be sufficient. I will say that. I'm not going to say they're as certainly as experienced as Montrell.
Yeah. Well, and I do think in the world of for Montrell, you want him to be healthy, not only to help the Gators, but I think also for when you're looking towards the NFL draft. And I'm sure Billy Napier, that's a little bit because he brought Osiris Torrance too, and he ended up getting drafted, and for the chance for maybe a guy like Montrell Johnson too, but you want to be able to see a healthy full season of him, which helps obviously.
Yeah, and again, Treon Webb from here in Jacksonville, and then also Jaden Baugh looked really good in spring. And you have to, I feel like, know that this can happen to any position group. If Graham Mertz goes down, heaven forbid, but you have to have DJ Lagway ready. And that's across the board in football, because as we just talked about, there are injuries that can happen in a moment's notice, and the player can be out for an entire season, or they'll miss significant time, like we've talked about with Andrew Wingard and things like that. So back to the Jaguars. Mia, what are some other things that stood out today?
Yeah, some other things from training camp. I noted during the handoff from Jaguars today, I did confirm with a Jaguars official after practice that while we were told that Cam Robinson and Cooper Hodges would be limited to just individual drills, they cleared the threshold the athletic training staff had deemed they needed to surpass to participate in team periods. That is obviously a huge development for the Jaguars offensive line depth, knowing that Anton Harrison's still in the concussion protocol. Doug Peterson was hoping to get him back today. He was not available today. And so I understand it's the preseason, but by all accounts, Doug expects to play his starters. He is confident in the depth of that offensive line room. And this speaks to the availability of players that we could see on Saturday.
Well, Mia, to that point, because we've talked about if the offensive line isn't healthy, do you play Trevor? Because do you want him behind a line you don't trust? Do you put a player in there that is maybe only practicing one day this week?
Yeah, I mean,
if it's Anton?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
I think, again, I'm not a doctor, so I don't want to speak out of turn. But unfortunately, when it comes to concussion protocol, we saw it firsthand with Trevor Lawrence last year. Once you have passed through, I think it's 5 steps, right, Lauren? It's like 5 phases. Like once you've gone through
then
the
you're
5,
good to go.
Yeah. Like unfortunately, it's just.
Well,
the
what about
nature of the protocol.
What about Cam? Because he was
Cam
back
was a shoulder
today.
injury. Yeah, so Cam actually he was limited to individual drills Saturday at the stadium practice, individual drills Monday, and then today we saw him back in team because he cleared that threshold. And so I would
expect him to be out there.
Yeah,
at least
steps,
minimal.
Yeah. Yes, I would anticipate you would see them in some form or fashion. Ezra Cleveland was limited to individual drills today, but that was a step above where he was on Monday when she was held out of practice, working off to the side with trainers. And so it was a good development to see from the depth of that offensive line, to see guys being available during team periods, to have been cleared to have that opportunity. But yes, Anton, I mean, it is the question of the preseason. It's what coaches across the league will deal with. Do you want to play your starters? Do you not want to play your starters? Risk injury versus get them snaps. You guys just heard from Mac Jones, which that interview will be available on demand on the 1010XL Jaguars channel in just a little bit. But you heard Mac Jones say he wishes he played in the preseason the last 2 seasons. And that was before everything went to heck in a handbasket up in New England over the past 2 years.
A couple of roster moves for the Jaguars yesterday. They signed safety Adrian Amos, who we saw out there today, and defensive tackle Jonathan Marshall. They waived defensive tackle Adam Gotsis and, of course, cornerback Gregory Jr. was also waived/injured. He can, if he clears waivers, will revert to the IR list, which doesn't surprise me. We did see him, unfortunately, get injured on Saturday during the stadium practice. But I think the surprising little bit news for Jaguars fans was the fact that Adam Gotsis was waived, although he could be on the practice squad.
Yeah, it could be on the practice squad, or perhaps this is, and again, I don't have any intel into this, and we wish Adam all the best. Perhaps this is the opportunity of the Jaguars to say, we like our young guys. We heard that from Ryan Nielsen right off the top this morning. They like Jordan Jefferson. They like Mason Smith. And not to say that those two players have an identical skill set to Adam Gotsis, because they don't, but whether that's some of these other depth pieces they've brought in throughout the course of training camp along the defensive front. They say we'd rather try these young guys than somebody who I believe is 30 or will be turning 30 this year in Adam Gotsis. And so they say maybe not a scheme fit. And so let's give him the opportunity to latch on somewhere else. And if that doesn't come to pass, then yeah, I could see something like that but it's potentially happening, Lauren.
The Adrian Amos one was super interesting to me, by the way. I just think I was a fan of Amos. Obviously, he was in Chicago and then went to Green Bay. And up until, last year was weird. He didn't really find a home or find a place last year. He was on 2 different teams. But the year before that in Green Bay, it slid down a little bit production, but also the entire Green Bay secondary and defense did. So I feel like it was kind of all relative, because the seasons before that, Adrian Amos was a safety that we were talking about being one of the better ones, and especially at that strong safety position. He was a big part of why Eddie Jackson got his Pro Bowl in 2018, because he was across from him, and the way they worked together was phenomenal. It was so much fun to watch. So if you get that type of Amos, like a closer to 18, 19, 20, 21, then you honestly have a really good player.
And don't forget, too, the team also signed Tanner Muse earlier this training camp period, although I think that's an interesting one, because some people believe across the National Football League that he is more of a linebacker. Some people believe he's more of a safety. He's obviously a special teams ace. And so that's an interesting one as well, of a guy who has a lot of experience in the league. We didn't even mention Terrell Edmonds, who will join Hacker After Dark tonight. Another veteran safety that if Dewey Wingard isn't available week 1 for depth purposes, you have other guys that have experience in the National Football League who could step in.
All right, time now for Mia's My Bookie midweek picks.
Now, Mia's midday My Bookie picks. Experience the Vegas thrill from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere, only with My Bookie.
All right, I'm going to begin with the one that I sneak previewed yesterday, which is, in case you missed it, at the Olympics, in the 57-kilogram division, wrestling began this week out at the Paris 2024 Games. I'm going to butcher his name. Mecic was the favorite. Wrestled collegiately at Northwestern and at Michigan. Was in college for 6-7 years. Was the favorite. I think it was minus 400 on MyBookie. Spencer Lee at the time, the second best odds, the former Iowa Hawkeye, the former 3-time national champion, was plus 400. I told you guys last Wednesday to get him while you could. Mecic has since pulled out, and Spencer Lee is minus 330 now, the favorite, despite the fact that he will go into the Olympics unseeded. That is as easy money as I can tell you to go make. This man won a national title in college on 2 torn ACLs. So trust me when I say that's a wise bet to hedge on. I also am sticking with Kyle Snyder at plus 200 in the 97-kilogram division as well. And let's also take a look at, I like this one as well. Kyle Dake. Look, I'm going with the Americans across the board. Sorry. At the 74-kilogram division as well. All of your Olympic picks are available by heading on over to mybookie.ag. A couple other ones that I think could be of note. Let's head on over to, I want to make sure I get this one for us. Hold on. Where's my beach volleyball? There we go. My beach volleyball friends. No, it's not showing up. That's okay. It's available on mybookie.ag. Basketball. What do we think the odds are for the men's and women's Olympic teams in the United States? The United States in women's basketball, 28.5-point favorites facing Nigeria in the semifinals. I kind of like that at minus 118. And then on the men's side, also headed to the semifinals in a rematch with Serbia. They are currently 16-point favorites. That one I think actually might be a little bit closer for comfort than the Americans are anticipating. I think Nikola Jokic and company are going to be looking for revenge after a just demolition derby by Kevin Durant and company in the opening round of pool play. And so I do like Serbia at plus 16. You could get that at minus 118 right now on mybookie.ag. Olympics, WNBA, Major League Baseball, and of course, National Football League and so much more. Head on over there right now.
All right, when we return, Becky Burley will join us, talk all things USL as well as the U.S. women's national team heading to the Olympic finals on Saturday, kicking off at 11 a.m. We'll get to that and a whole lot more. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
You have heard about the 1010XL YouTube channel. Now check out our team-specific channels, 1010XL Jaguars, 1010XL Gators, and 1010XL Seminoles, bringing up specific, up-to-the-minute video coverage of your favorite local team. And find us on YouTube today.
Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
This is Hayes Carline here to help you break free from the chains of pest infestation. The talk of this town is Kingfish Pest Control. By now, many of your neighbors have already joined the Kingfish Revolution, leaving their homes and lawns protected and pest-free. Now it's your turn. Call Kingfish Pest Control and say goodbye to termites, ants, mosquitoes, and other annoying pests. Trust me, you'll get exceptional service and understand why your neighbors and I use Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
For a chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to the Coke Zero Sugar 400 August 24th at Daytona, answer this question. Who has the most victories in the Coke Zero Sugar 400? Text the driver's last name to 641-1010.
At Hodges Mazda, what Mazda moves you? Find out. Lauren Brooks here. Come test drive the Mazda CX-90, engineered to fit your lifestyle. Take advantage of 1.9% APR for up to 72 months on a 2024 Mazda CX-90, the largest 3-row SUV that Mazda offers. The professional non-commissioned sales team always puts your best interests first, and you'll get 2 years free maintenance. Visit Hodges Mazda today or shop online at HodgesMazda.com to discover the Hodges Mazda difference. See dealer for details. Terms and fees for qualified applicants expire September 3rd, 2024.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match. Or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari at Bari Orthopedics.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Helmets and Heels.
Clearwater. John, I can't even mow my side yard. It's so soggy. Man, my builder sucks.
Brent, calm down. This is a common problem in neighborhoods where houses are built too close together. You need gutters and a properly installed French drain that will soak up subsurface water. We can completely dry it up.
So I can take my builder off my speed dial now, huh?
Yeah, we got you, buddy. Let that builder bitterness go.
Clearwater irrigation and drainage too.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Now that's what I call high
quality H2O. If you want high-quality water throughout your home, call your local water boy. We install equipment to solve any water problem. WaterBoyJax.com.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
For lost or broken keys or nearly any make and model of vehicle, call 722-1111 for
Instant Keys. Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving, they can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. Brought to you by USA Park. The FSU Seminoles, who are scheduled to practice today and tomorrow in Jacksonville at UNF, have moved their practices for the next 2 days indoors due to weather conditions. Seminoles tight end coach Chris Thompson spoke with media yesterday on what he's looking to see more of from tight end Jackson West these next 3 weeks ahead of their first game in Ireland.
Catch the ball a little bit more consistent is the main thing, because, we're talking about playing close to the ball. That's where he excels. Like, the physicality that he brings to the run game is at a very high level, and we need that. But then just, his route running has been really, really good. Just got to finish on some plays, and he'll do that. I got faith that he will, but that's, continue to solidify himself in that way.
The Shrimp fall to the Mud Hens 9-2 in their opening game of their 6-game series up in Toledo, Ohio. The Shrimp look to rebound tonight in Game 2 with first pitch at 7:05. It's 85 degrees at 1 o'clock. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Mia O'Brien, Taylor Dahl, I'm Lauren Brooks, and we are always excited to be joined by Becky Burley, former Florida women's soccer coach and now a consultant for Sporting Jackson USL. Becky, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, I always love joining you guys. You know that.
Yes, and we so appreciate it. All right, we want to start with this U.S. women's national team and the narrow defeat over Germany yesterday, 1-0. We've talked glowingly about Emma Hayes and this squad. Certainly the young talent on this team is so impressive. What do you like most about Emma Hayes and her coaching style, Becky?
I just love the fact that she is like hardcore in terms of her game model and what she's trying to do, but then she's also just as hardcore about how she treats these women and the relationships she has with them. And it's so cool to see both of those in action together.
Really great quote from former U.S. women's national team standout Allie Krieger, Becky. She said that Emma Hayes has empowered each player to just bring their individual magic. I know I sat here after the 4-1 win over Germany in pool play and banged the table and said this was the first time in my 31 years on planet Earth that I saw an American team, men or women, that had an offense-first mindset. Now, certainly the goal tally has trickled down a little bit since that 4-1 performance against the Germans in pool play, but I can't help but come away from this and say I am seeing a team that wants to score at all moments of a game, at a moment's notice, and I'm not sure I saw that over the past 31 years of women's soccer in America.
I think you're right about that, and I think I would give Emma credit for that, and I would also give this generation of stars credit for that because, man, that three-headed monster up top is a beast to deal with. I would not want to be trying to plan a defense against them. And it's so exciting to watch because what I see most in that group is that they are all playing in their sweet spots. It doesn't feel like someone's sort of forced into a spot that they're not as comfortable with. They all bring their best because they're in a spot in the lineup where they can actually showcase their skills.
The United States will face Brazil, Lauren, in the gold medal match. And before we segue to USL and Sporting Jacks talk, We have to ask your thoughts on the gold medal final, Becky, as well as the fact that, and I saw this floating around X quite a bit last night, this idea of because Brazil had an easier time through to the gold medal match in the semis, a rested Marta could be trouble for the United States.
Well, first of all, before we leave that last game, I just want to give a shout out to Nair for that foot save, man. That just gave me a heart attack.
Yeah, the final 2 minutes of that were crazy.
It was insane. I think I got more gray hairs in that 2 minutes than I have all month. But I will say this, like facing Brazil, it's really interesting because when I was first looking at the potential matchup, I'm thinking, kind of hope we get Brazil because Spain has been Spain, and they're just so talented. But then watching Spain play against Brazil, and man, they kind of imploded a little bit. Just so many mistakes in the back, and you got to give pressure to Brazil. I mean, you got to give credit for Brazil's pressure that created those mistakes. And I think that's what the U.S. has to be ready for. This is not the same Brazil that we've seen in recent years. I feel like they are also a team that has kind of found a new identity, and that identity is press. They're playing for a purpose. Their purpose was to get Marta back on the field for this gold medal game. It's her last international game. She's an icon in that country. They have so much to play for.
Yeah, they certainly do. I will say when Sophia Smith, obviously the goal was fantastic, and then of course she almost got that second one later on, but that move that she made along the sidelines to shake that one defender as time was getting certainly close to expiring, and then to watch Emma Hayes' reaction, Becky, that's the kind of stuff I'm sure that you kind of miss as being a coach, right? Is watching someone do something and work so incredibly hard, even when they're gassed because it's minute 115 at that point in time.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool that she is able to share in the enthusiasm of that moment, but I don't feel like she's this person like Emma I'm talking about that's riding a wave. Some coaches you see really emotional on the sidelines and you're like, ooh, what does that passion look like when things aren't going your way? But I feel like she's a pretty steadying influence in the difficult times and yet a really good encourager in the fun times too.
I think Will Muschamp, a guy that you know pretty well, would be that would fit that description.
For sure.
Becky, it's funny because yesterday we were on air during the game, and I don't know, Lauren the whole time was just staring at the TV, which rightfully so. The moment the show ended, the goal was scored. And it was like not on air, so we didn't get the live reaction from Lauren, which I kind of wish we did. But let's pivot over to the USL Super League that kicks off in just a week, Becky. I feel like we've been talking about it now for a few months and here on the show. So super exciting. It's just around the corner now, but we've heard some major signings happening in the league overall, just in time for for this to kick off. So tell us a little bit about some of the players we can look forward to seeing.
Well, what's been pretty cool is you're starting to see national team players from around the world. You're starting to see players from the NWSL that had pretty good roles on their teams join USL teams. So these are experienced players on both the national and international stage who I think can make an impact and show this league what it's all about right from the start. I'm super excited about the start of the league. I'm sure there will be some hiccups. I'm sure there are teams who aren't where they want to be in terms of preparation at this point. But like any fledgling league, there's going to be growing pains. I'm just excited for it to get going.
And Sporting Jacks continuing to see growth in the season ticket deposit. Walk us through how fans can start reserving their tickets and start getting involved with the club.
Yeah, it's just $25, and that reserves you your seat for the men's or women's team. If you pay $40, you get a spot for both. I mean, I think this is something that shows a great groundswell in Jacks for what we're trying to do in Jacksonville. But it's also just a way to, literally get in front of these people who, you get to see your heroes up close and personal. And I think that's what's most exciting about having a team in Jacksonville, both a men's and a women's team.
Absolutely. And we're counting down to August 22nd when University of North Florida plays host to your former team, Florida. What can we expect to see there at Hodges Stadium?
It's going to be a fun match because we've played North Florida historically in the Gator program, and it's never an easy game. UNF has had some great players. Matter of fact, they had a player that was playing in the NWSL most recently. But I think what is really good about that is just the North Central Florida area, two teams from that space coming together to celebrate the beginning of the season. And it's the same thing, early days for both those teams too. So I'm sure there will be some preparation needed for both teams, but this is a great way to kick it off for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So Sunday, 11 a.m., where will you be? Or sorry, Saturday, 11 a.m., where will you be, Becky?
In front of my television, cheering and maybe biting my fingernails if it's a close one. I'm excited to watch Marta's last game. I had a chance to coach her in Orlando, and I will just tell you that she is the lowest maintenance superstar I have ever met. I mean,
Love that.
Just an amazing woman, an amazing ambassador for the sport, and it's historic to see her play in her last game. But I'm not going to lie, I'm pulling for the U.S.
And the good news, Becky, is the Jaguars don't play till 7 o'clock, so ample time. I know Lauren and I have been struggling because we're at training camp, and they've been playing at 9 a.m. while camp's going on. No conflicts. Reserve that spot on your couch. Make sure you're watching the U.S. Women's National Team on Saturday.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much, Becky. We'll chat with you next month.
Sounds great. Thanks.
And just a reminder to everyone, the Sporting Jacks Soccer Hour now Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on 1010 a.m. That is, of course, hosted by Cole Pepper with Becky Burley. And I know I've told her the story. I've told you all the story. When I was in high school, I went to a soccer camp at the University of Florida, and it was the only time in my life that I've ever been in an ice bath after. It was like 98 degrees every day. It was crazy hot. But yeah, the ice bath, and the fact that some people do that every day is shocking to me. I thought it was absolutely miserable.
It's like falling in like one of the fishing holes up north.
Yeah, I felt like all my bones were broken.
Yeah. Taylor, a bit of breaking news for us.
That just happened. Brought to you by Florida Home AC, the official air conditioning partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
All right, this is coming from an Andrew. I do not know exactly how to say his last name, Filipponi, but he is one of the talent on the 93.7 The Fan for Pittsburgh. The reason I even saw this is because Nick Wright, we know Nick Wright, in his takes, he loves Jacksonville here, but he quote tweeted this, the tweet from Andrew Filipponi, and said, I understand there's been a lot of conflicting reports about this is, by the way, the Steelers, Aiyuk kind of rumors that were going around. He said, but no one is more plugged into the Steelers than Andrew Filipponi. So if he says Aiyuk is going to
don't
Pittsburgh,
bury the lead here,
Aiyuk
Taylor.
is going to Pittsburgh. So let me get to that tweet. Sources, the Steelers have a verbal agreement in place for the 49ers for Brandon Aiyuk. All the terms of the deal and contract details are being hammered out now. The wide receiver is coming to Pittsburgh. So this isn't from the officials, but this is someone who is very plugged into the Pittsburgh organization.
No, I would compare Filipponi. He's the Hayes Carlion of the official station of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And
so do with that information what you will.
Yeah. That's why we've actually talked about Pretty Ricky on this program, because normally, we would probably dismiss someone if we didn't recognize them as coming from an established entity. But this guy has been on top of a lot of breaking news in the NFL over the last few months, and he's been saying this for quite some time. It was disputed by a lot of national reporters, and certainly it seems like he is accurate. So Dylan Denmark, since we still have you here, I just saw this tweet from Jacob Rudner, who covers Florida closely. Former Gator spinner Grant Holloway just cruised through a semifinal heat in the 110-meter hurdles with a blazing 12.98, which is just 0.08 seconds off the Olympic record and 0.18 off the world record mark. Tell people how impressive that is.
That's pretty stupid. It's insane how fast that is. I mean, running 100 is hard, and then having to do with 10 hurdles in front of you is like the real athletes are the hurdlers and the jumpers.
Yep.
Anybody can run flat.
Yeah. Well, kind of.
Yeah. Not at their level.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and certainly Dylan is our track expert around here. I'm sure you've been watching the Olympic track, right?
Oh, yeah. 100, 200, you name it.
Yeah, I've loved it. I watched the 1,500 meter for the men's yesterday as well. All right, we've got more to do. Taylor has a tangent when we return. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Helmets and Heels. This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers. Now, a 1010XL Summer Olympic Update. Brought to you by
USAPark.net Airport Parking.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2024 Summer Games, sponsored by Westin Hotels and Resorts. Find wellness at Westin. The U.S. added to its Olympics leading medal count, now with 88 overall, after skateboarder Tom Schaar made his Olympic debut and put up 3 strong runs to win silver in the men's park final. American Hampton Morris won bronze in weightlifting, and the U.S. might not be done yet. The U.S. women's cyclists, led by gold medalist Kristen Faulkner, are going for gold against New Zealand in the women's team pursuit. There are also a handful of medals today in track and field. Ohio native Katie Moon is defending her gold medal in the women's pole vault final at this hour. Later, top-ranked Quincy Jones and Christopher Bailey compete in the men's 100-meter final. It was a disappointing day for the U.S. men's volleyball team, which suffered its first loss in Paris, falling to Poland in the semifinals 3-2. The Americans will now play for bronze. With this Summer Games update, I'm Erica Herskowitz, Westwood with One Sports.
Wellness means something different to each of us. And at Westin Hotels and Resorts, we believe every step is an opportunity to enhance your well-being. Whether it's guided group runs and workout gear on demand, or nourishing food options and restorative rest in our heavenly bed. When you travel, you can find wellness at Westin, one of 30 hotel brands in the Marriott Bonvoy portfolio. Find wellness at Westin.
Pain means pause on the things you love, but green means go. Cool the pain with BioFreeze and keep on going. BioFreeze cools and relieves sore muscles and joints. It works fast and is long-lasting by using cold therapy to help relieve the pain. In fact, it's the #1 clinician-recommended menthol topical pain relief brand based on Ipsos clinician survey of chiropractors, podiatrists, massage therapists, retail pharmacists, and athletic trainers. BioFreeze. Green means go. Learn more at biofreeze.com. Use as directed.
Nia O'Brien here, and let me tell you, I know it's overcast. It's so nice outside today. It's going to get hot again, folks, which means your AC better be blowing nice and cold on the inside. If for any reason it's not, that's where my friends at Duck Duck Air Conditioning are here to help. Their qualified service techs can handle any type of cooling issue at your home or business. Don't deal with the summer heat outside and inside. Give Duck Duck AC a call today to schedule service. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckac.com. Duck Duck AC is a licensed mechanical contractor.
This right here is as good as it gets. This is life getting lived without obligations or complications. This is filling your cup and savoring the moment. This is the gift of presence, served to you in a place where there's room for everyone and enough to go around. And the best part, it's always Sonny's here. Sonny's Barbecue, local pitmasters since '68.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday.
Hey Jacksonville, Taylor Dahl here of Helmets and Heels. If you are looking to grow your career, Chick-fil-A restaurants are hiring and looking for folks to join their team right now. Chick-fil-A Jacksonville area restaurants are offering flexible hours, scholarship opportunities, and leadership development, just to name a few. You can find a friendly work environment with competitive pay and have fun at work with opportunities to serve your community. With locations all around Jacksonville, apply online or in person today at your local Chick-fil-A restaurant.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
Jaguars fans, the 2024 NFL season is just around the corner, and we can't wait for you to be back at the bank. Your Jacksonville Jaguars are starting off the preseason going head-to-head with our Kansas City Chiefs Saturday, August 10th. Be at the bank as the Jags take the field. The Jaguars have won it! You won't want to miss a second of the action. Grab your tickets for the 7 p.m. kick by going to jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We'll see you there.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein & Robbins DUI defense firm.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
Before termites attack your home or business and cause costly damage, Terminix it. At Terminix, we know how to stop termites. These destructive pests have been around for millions of years, but before they show up, so do we. And their time is up. Don't live with a termite problem? Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Don't make a bad call when it comes to servicing your home. Cooling off with a baby pool in the house to fix your air conditioning problem is a bad call. Trying to catch a wave in a flooded bathroom is a bad call. Using a burning electrical panel to make s'mores is a bad call. The next time something goes wrong, make a good call to Donovan.
Whether you need air, electric, or plumbing service, Donovan is always a good call. It's why we've been trusted by our customers for almost 40 years and why you can trust us to deliver fast, reliable service to your home. Donovan, always a good call.
Visit DonovanAC.com today.
This is Hayes Carline for SkyLife Elite. Are you tired of canceled flights, unruly passengers, and layovers? Call my friends at SkyLife Elite. Consider using private charter flights for your next adventure. Yes, you can afford it. Make your own schedule. Fly direct. Drive your car to Craig Airport and get directly on the plane. SkyLife Elite can make that happen. Call 490-9332. Go to flyskylife.com and find them on social media. Fly SkyLife Elite, North Florida's premier private air charter.
David Lane here again for Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. After several surgeries for age-old issues, mainly my back and shoulders, there's no doubt that Southeast Orthopedic Specialist is my sustaining resource for living pain-free. Take it from me, and I'm being really honest here, there's no better orthopedic facility here in Jacksonville.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
This is Helmets and Heels.
Kept classy by First Coast Lighting and Fans. Upscale lighting, fans, and home decor.
On 1010XL.
Before we get to Taylor's tangent, I do want to put a bow on the report that Taylor came back from our wonderful interview with Becky Burley with that Brandon Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers is all but a done deal, according to Andrew Filipponi of 93.7, akin to 1010, the 1010 equivalent, if you may, out in Pittsburgh. According to our good friend, Pretty Ricky. We still don't know who Pretty Ricky is, by the way. Pretty Ricky says that the Niners will not be getting a first-round pick back in this trade. Steelers did offer a first-round pick back in May. And so if Pretty Ricky is to be believed, again, the X account with a dog as the profile photo, who has been right multiple times over on various NFL transactions over the last 7 months, that would suggest that the Niners were okay with lowering the price point for Brandon Aiyuk just to essentially rid themselves of the drama surrounding him.
And it is, I mean, Pittsburgh's just so, there's such a functionally ran organization. I feel like there's been moments with certain guys, you know, with Le'Veon Bell, but I feel like after they leave Antonio Brown, but it's like after they leave Pittsburgh, somehow Pittsburgh keeps these guys like in line and then they kind of go astray. But even going back to, and this is what is interesting that I don't even think we've factored in when we've talked about, because all three of us have said we see Justin Fields starting at some point in some form or fashion this season. But one of the things that I think we do have to keep in mind is that they only have to give a sixth if he plays a certain amount, and it goes to a fourth if Justin Fields plays X amount. So I could see Pittsburgh waiting until they surpass that to where they're not having to give up a 4th-round pick and they're just giving up a 6th for Justin Fields, and then they don't even have to give up a 1st for Brandon Aiyuk. I'm interested to see, because we were talking yesterday, the players involved and who potentially, if a player's going to go,
versus
so
draft
that'll
picks.
Be interesting to kind of see once this comes out.
It also should be noted that Mike Tomlin was on the other sports radio station in Pittsburgh this morning, 102.5 WDVE, and he was asked if he had any notable phone calls this morning, to which the head coach of the Steelers said, quote, "It's a little early on the west side right now, so probably not."
So it's 51%, by the way. 51%. If Fields plays 51%, it's a 4th.
Yeah.
If it's under 51%, it's a 6th.
And Tomlin is saying that instead of it being automatically Russell Wilson as the QB1, that there is a quarterback competition, which doesn't surprise me. That's the whole reason I thought they traded for Justin Fields, is because, at least as of recently, Russell Wilson has not been a quarterback that you believe can take you to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was once upon a time, but certainly not the last couple of seasons. So I all along thought that it was going to be a quarterback competition there in Pittsburgh. All right now Taylor Dahl has a tangent.
Now, Taylor's Tangent, served up by Chick-fil-A on 1010XL.
Now, kind of continuing on from this conversation, because I had my tangent pre-planned before this news came out, but it's still relevant, because an article came out earlier about how Kyle Shanahan, the quoted word is bothered by how Brandon Aiyuk has kind of handled this whole situation this offseason. And to me, my tangent is more so, are you surprised, Kyle Shanahan, that someone is acting upset, especially in kind of the era that we are living in now? So obviously he's in his 5th year. They tagged him. He made a little over $12 million in the first 4 years, which that's a benefit of being able to find a wide receiver and draft and develop, and you get him in those 4 years for way less than you're paying for one now. But then they used the tag, so he's making 14. He would be making 14 with the 49ers this season. So that'll be interesting too, what ends up happening once he goes to Pittsburgh and with that contract. But when guys like Justin Jefferson, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra are all getting paid in this offseason, and now you're still waiting for a CeeDee Lamb and some of these other guys to see if they're going to get paid too. It's just, I don't understand how a coach can act surprised anymore that when you tag a player and you're kind of forcing them into $14 million when there's guys in the league making over double that who are in comparison to where they are productive, in productivity. So I get it. You always, and we've said the word here, like hometown discount. They want to stay. They want to play for you. They love the team. They love to win. But at some point, and we talked about the Players Association, how important it is for them and how they kind of start to force their guys, no, you get paid, because if you get paid, we get paid. And that's the alliance in the NFL. So I don't think coaches should act surprised at all if guys continue to act this way because they think they deserve to get paid, and Brandon Aiyuk is one of those that do.
And here's the other part of it that I can't wait, if this report is true, if the deal is done between the Steelers and the 49ers regarding Brandon Aiyuk, I can't wait to see if a sign and trade was mandated. Yeah. Because we are seeing right now, in the case of Hassan Reddick, and this idea, Taylor, of player empowerment, the Jets said, we're trading for you. And he said, okay, let's try to get an extension done. They didn't get the extension done, and Reddick was like, okay, well, I'm not going to play for you. And Joe Douglas said, well, I'm going to trade for you anyways. And now we have no idea if he will ever actually suit up for the New York Jets. I would hope that a deal can be reached, because you gave up valuable draft capital, even if it's not a first-round pick, to acquire the pass rusher, and yet he may never even play for you, which good on him that he was like, no, like, I don't even know you. Like, I met you 5 minutes ago.
We're not even friends.
Right. Like, why should I have to do that? And so that's where, with the Brandon Aiyuk situation, much akin to Calvin Ridley in Jacksonville last year, is it a one-year rental? Are there terms in the trade that specify how a long-term extension could be reached? Or was the long-term extension mandated when the Niners gave Aiyuk and his team permission to seek a trade earlier this week?
I've always believed that if I was in that type of position, let's say Aiyuk's position, that I'm on a team that's been to the Super Bowl multiple years since I've been on the team, versus going to a team that's probably, I would say, rebuilding in the Steelers. Yes, they have some really good players, but they're certainly farther away from the Super Bowl than the 49ers, that I would say I'd rather play for the winning team and I'll take a little bit less money. I've always believed I would be in that position, but I've never been in that position. Yeah. And so you might say, well, if it's going to be a matter of $5 million more per year, you aren't as focused, I guess, on winning a ring. You're focused on your bank account.
Yeah, and I also think that when it comes to guys, and I don't know Brandon Aiyuk close enough, I don't cover him to be able to know what his personality is like in that world, but some of these guys, their egos are more so like, I can change that. Like the Steelers have had a winning record for X amount of years now. Mike Tomlin's right there. I can be that person that takes them over the hump, especially now that maybe he does. And I said yesterday, I was hearing reports that he wanted to go to Pittsburgh. Whether it's for Justin Fields or Russell Wilson, there's something he likes about Pittsburgh. And so maybe he has more of the ego side of it, where like, I'm that player that can take them to that next level, to where they kind of have gotten stopped in recent years, but they've been in the postseason.
RJ Saunders is back with us, and right now he gets to give a lucky winner lunch for two from Chick-fil-A, right?
Yes, let's lunch on the ladies. We will give you lunch for two to Chick-fil-A if you give us a call at 641-1010. Let's say caller number 2.
All right, there we have it. When we return, we will get it back to the Jaguars. You are listening to Helmets and Heels on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
This is Helmets and Heels.
This hour is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida is coming soon and now hiring for technicians, sales, and all positions. If you or someone you know are looking for a new opportunity, apply online at genesisnortheastjacksonville.com. Equal opportunity employer.
Ready for the ultimate college football season? Using MyBookie's sportsbook and casino platform, you can bet on every game and win anytime, anywhere, straight from your mobile device. No app needed. Just sign up at mybookie.com and you are ready to rock. Mia here with college football finally set to return. This season promises epic matchups. And with MyBookie, tons of opportunities to win. Whether you're rooting for your alma mater or your favorite team, there's no better way to experience the season than having action on the games. Last year, MyBookie had some of the best odds on the market for the national champion Wolverines to win the national title, and Michigan bettors who backed their squad saw a 10 times return on their wagers. These types of bets highlight why it's worth it to lay an investment before the season begins. Lock your futures in now while you're waiting for the season to begin and use promo code 1010XL to claim a bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code 1010XL only with MyBookie.
Clean air, cool air, both are extremely important. Trust Florida Home AC to deliver on both with their Remy Halo, the next generation of air quality technology. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and breathe clean and cool air.
Looking to elevate your game night experience? Look no further than Best Bet. We're not just a card room, we're your destination for excitement, fun, and big wins. Whether you're a seasoned player or new to the game, we have something for everyone. Join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine for thrilling tournaments, exciting promotions, and a vibrant atmosphere that will take your game night to the next level. Elevate your game night at Best Bet. Visit bestbetjacks.com to learn more. That's bestbetjacks.com.
It's Helmets and Heels, Kingfish Pest Control Wednesday. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey there, Weekend Warriors. It's Matt Hayes. Sick of that slice? Tired of those 3 putts? What if I told you your handicap isn't about your swing, it's about your weight? Why not take strokes off your game by taking pounds off your frame with the Waco 180? We're talking 10 strokes off by August, getting your tour card by September, winning your first major. Year 1. Think about it. Fame, fortune, and most important, winning $5 off your buddy because you, sir, are closest to the pin. Taking strokes off your game is just about 40 pounds away at Awaken180weightloss.com. Awaken 180 does not guarantee an immediate 10 strokes off your score, receiving a tour card, or the ability to control the weather. Individual results may vary. Your newfound athleticism might cause jealousy among your foursome, leading to accusations of steroid use. Awaken is not responsible for defending your honor in the clubhouse. Awaken 180 cannot guarantee that your newfound golf prowess will lead to a sponsorship deal, but we can't not guarantee it either. Awaken 180 is not responsible for any dramatic fist pumps or unsolicited golf tips you give to strangers. Awaken 180 does not offer refunds for any lost wagers made on your improved golf game. Bet wisely, my friend. Strokes off your game by dropping pounds off your frame. Awaken180weightloss.com.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the first coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
After a storm passes, the assessment of the aftermath begins. Sometimes damage to the roof is obvious, like leaks or missing shingles, broken or damaged gutters, or tree debris. But storm damage is not always as clearly present. Universal Roofing Contracting is here to help and will come assess your roof for any hidden damage. Call Universal Roof to schedule your free roof inspection at 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we want it, we got to bring it. My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
When all you have is a hammer, everything is a nail. I'm Dr. George Bari, and like me, I know you have been bombarded with PRP and stem cell treatments from companies that promise the world and charge prices to match, or the surgeon that convinced you the only way to treat your injuries through surgery. At Bari Orthopedics, we offer the best PRP treatment on the market with prices that won't cost you an arm and a leg. We also have the expertise to treat your injury surgically if that is what it entails. We can discuss all surgical and non-surgical options with you and make sure you get the best treatment available. Come see me, Dr. George Bari, at Bari Orthopedics.
Atlantic Self Storage, the official storage partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need to make room to watch football in your home or need a place to park your boat or RV? Store it all at Atlantic Self Storage. Over 50 locations in Northeast Florida. 24-hour access, all with month-to-month leases. Moving, they can help with supplies. They make storage easy. Go to AtlanticSelfStorage.com or call 877-WE-STORE to find a storage solution near you. Go Jags!
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
ZEROREC, Zero Res.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguar rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. is looking to make his mark this year, and it's all starting in camp. Head coach Doug Peterson gave an update on what he's seen out of Thomas so far on the Rich Eisen show yesterday.
Brian is just a great person. Number one, he's quiet, and we're trying to pull that out of him. But he's done a great job. He's really picked up our offense. Chad Hall's done a nice job just coaching him and getting him prepared and ready. And the speed is real, and that's something that we lost Calvin Ridley in the offseason. That was our speed element, but we feel like we got that back now in Brian Thomas.
Catch the Jags versus the Chiefs preseason game live this Saturday on 1010XL with the kickoff show beginning at 2 and kickoff at 7. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
Our thanks again to Becky Burley of Sporting Jacks, formerly of the Florida Gators, for joining us here on Helmets and Heels. I think that'll be my takeaway, Lauren and Taylor. I'm so excited that Saturday morning, get yoga in, get a nice walk, watch the United States women's national team win another Olympic gold, and then head on over to the Jacksonville Jaguars Kansas City Chiefs preseason game, which we will have a kickoff show 2 o'clock, myself, Hayes, Carline, and friends.
I just realized that you may not get to see the end of the game.
So it kickoffs at
11.
11? Yeah, I'll be done by 1:30. I leave my house at I leave my house like 1:15.
Yeah.
It's all right.
If it goes to extra time, like
like the last two. No, I don't want overtime. I don't want extra time. Get it done in 90. Get it done in 90, and then I'll see the end of it.
I like it.
I'm going to go with some of the interesting QB battles around the league is going to be my takeaway today. It's nice to not have that here. for your starting quarterback because we've been there many years. But it is fun to watch how things kind of happen in other leagues. And Lauren, you were talking about it yesterday. Some of the ones that were named, like Sam Darnold, named the starting quarterback. It seems like there's a lot of question marks outside of some of those, but they usually will still say so-and-so is starting, whatever the situation may be. We just talked about Russell Wilson and Justin Fields being in a QB battle, was Mike Tomlin's words. Now, another one, Coach Antonio Pierce for the Raiders, also just said he has not yet decided who will start at quarterback against the Vikings, but he said earlier that both Minshew and O'Connell will play a quarter each. And so the person asked if it mattered who started, and Pierce said not really, because the other quarterback would start the next week. So they are full on no idea who's going to be their starting quarterback come week 1.
Yeah, and like I've said before, that's fun if you're media because you get to go out there and chart the passes and figure out who you think looks like the better quarterback. But if you're a fan of a team, you want to have a starting franchise solidified quarterback that you know, like here, is going to be there for many years. Trevor for at least 7 more. I'll say that FSU and Mike Norvell going to the flex field today, Mike Norvell wanted to simulate different conditions than what an indoor practice can be. So he decided to turn the air conditioning off, and because it's normally air conditioned in that facility, both in the Miller Electric Center and the flex field at Daly's Place. And he said after practice he would have preferred if he could turn the heat on. So he is a guy that is very intense as far as his coaching style is concerned, and he wants those players to go through it. I remember last year, Mia, I know you were out there, last year at UNF, and we'll see about tomorrow's practice, whether that's again in the flex field or at UNF. I think it just depends on the weather for the rest of today and tonight. If it rains more, I would assume they'll be back inside the flex field. But the practices a year ago at UNF were incredibly hot. And tomorrow the high is 95. It's supposed to be sunny. So if they're back out there, Norvell, I think, will be really happy with those conditions because that's what he wants them to go through. He wants them to go through hell before the season starts.
I think it's also important, Lauren, when you look at the Florida State projected depth chart, let's call it projected depth chart. So much has been made about everyone they lost to the NFL draft, the 13 draft picks, right? Or 11 draft picks, 13 players total, who went to the league. The idea of having to replace your quarterback, having to replace your top 2 wide receivers, your running back, the list goes on. I hate to be that guy, but if you look at their depth chart, on the offensive side of the ball, they have 1 non-senior who is a projected starter. And on the defensive side of the ball, there's certainly a couple of redshirt juniors between Patrick Payton, Joshua Farmer, obviously known commodities along the defensive front, 1 redshirt sophomore and Earl Little Jr. Of course, that secondary gets perhaps the most hype of any position group on the Noles roster. I don't think this is going to be some young rebuilding situation out there in Tallahassee. These are guys who were depth pieces a year ago, but are still considered upperclassmen and are just finally getting their shot.
We heard Billy Napier talk about that a few weeks ago when he said that the Gators have now, after being very young, 40,000 or 40-something thousand snaps of experience. And so it's kind of relative to that when you talk about maybe they weren't starters, but having experience with that team and kind of with each other in college football obviously is beneficial. You want, and the questions more so are how quickly they connect, but I still think being there and having snaps is important.
Yeah, if you look at the depth chart for Florida State, to your point, Mia, there's a lot of, when we look at it on ourlads.com, that's usually where I go, unless the team has put out an official depth chart. And the way they design it and denote it, I should say, is orange means transfer. Well, you look at the FSU depth chart, and there's a lot of orange. In other words, a lot of guys that have transferred in. And that's because both lines of scrimmage, certainly some skill position players as well. And that's because Mike Norvell does a really good job of bringing in that transfer portal talent. You look at Florida's, and it's certainly more than it has been, but it's still not to the level of Florida State's. And that's one thing, like Matt Hayes and I were talking about this at FSU's practice earlier, and he said they have some grown men along that offensive line and defensive line. I was like, yeah, because they bring them in already 22 years old. It's a lot easier to get people that know what to expect in college football, and you know what to expect of them when they've been somewhere else and they've put the work in, and you have their film that you can watch, versus bringing an 18-year-old and then 3 years down the line developing them and getting them to
and also trying to build their bodies to where you want them to be for whatever position they're playing.
Like we said, a far cry from when an 8-year-old watched their practice and thought they were a high school outfit 3 years ago early on in Mike Norvell's tenure.
Yeah, and certainly they've come a long way, and it'll be fascinating for me specifically to watch that quarterback competition. And again, right now it's not one. It's DJ Uiagalelei's job to lose. But there are some guys that are talented behind him. And so that, to me, if he starts off not playing great right off the rip, and I don't mean that Norvell's going to yank him out of the first game against Georgia Tech in Dublin, but if over the first 3 games, if he has more turnovers than touchdowns, what happens? How long of a leash does he have?
One quick note from the NFL ranks as we wrap up today's program, courtesy of Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. Colts wide receiver Josh Downs suffered a high ankle sprain officially during practice today, per source. The outlook right now is that Downs could miss about a month, but the Colts are sorting that out. Nonetheless, a key piece to the Colts offense goes down.
Yeah, and another piece of what we've kind of had the conversation today. So from Andrew Filipponi, he said, here is what he's heard the Steelers are willing to put into trade for Brandon Aiyuk: Dan Moore Jr., James Daniels, Calvin Austin, or a second-round pick. But what he's heard the 49ers want back is either a first-round Freiermuth or George Pickens.
I told you, if they're not getting a first-round pick, that's who they're going to want.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should, if you're the Steelers.
You're not giving Brandon Aiyuk for James Daniels. I'm sorry. Like, what?
Right. And if you're the Steelers, you're not giving up
George Pickens
or Freiermuth,
because that's supposed to be your duo you're coming up with.
Or Freiermuth, who before you decided to embark on this Brandon Aiyuk crusade, you were planning on paying Freiermuth.
Yeah.
So I don't know where this idea of, well, okay, now we're just going to part ways with him completely. Which if you're the Niners, I respect that because I do think with George Kittle now entering his 30s, you want to have that succession plan in place. So that's a smart move by them. But this is absolutely fascinating to me.
It is.
I honestly, to go back to March when I was first told and reported that there was Aiyuk potential trade rumors swirling not just here in Jacksonville, but throughout the National Football League, to where we are now, I am not sure we've seen a saga quite like this in some time in the National Football League.
Yeah, if I'm the 49ers, I would not move off of a first-round pick from whichever team it's going to be. That's what I would demand, and I would not say, okay, well, yeah, you can give me those guys, and I'll take a second-rounder. That, to me, would not be worth it. All right, so I said we'll get back to the Jaguars right now. We have a pair of tickets to the Jaguars' first preseason game. That is this Saturday night, going up against the world champion Chiefs. If you want to go, be caller number 4 at 641-1010. Caller number 4, 641-1010. RJ will hand you those tickets. Well, actually, they'll be in an email from Taylor, but you know what I mean.
I will get them to you.
Yeah, you will win the tickets. And again, the kickoff show with Hayes and Mia will be Saturday at Tailgaters starting at 2 p.m. Let's wrap training camp for today, Mia. I thought from the brief period of time that I was there before I headed over to the flex field that Trevor Lawrence looked sharp once again. The offense seems to really be clicking.
Yes, I noted that to a couple different people. I only had Trevor down for, I think it was 2. He was flushed from the pocket twice during team periods, 2 incompletions, the pass breakup by Antonio Johnson. Had some earlier pass breakups at the hands of Trey Flowers, who I think is a sneaky name to watch when it comes to the 53-man roster.
I was worried he was hurt 2 days ago, but glad to see him
I think every day he goes down with a hard hit, and then he comes back and breaks up a pass. So that's certainly a name to watch, especially knowing his familiarity with Ryan Nielsen's scheme, having been in Atlanta and playing 17 games up there last year. Buster Brown with another pass breakup as well. Apparently there's a Buster Brown hive on X. Didn't know that existed.
I love it.
And then I was like, fine, here's Buster Brown content, and posted it. And then other people were like, we didn't come here for this. And I'm like, okay, well, there's 5.
Some people did.
There's 5 of you that are yelling at 1010 every day for Buster Brown content. So here you go. And one final thing. Do not panic at the depth chart. I thought Ryan Nielsen did a great job of explaining. Number one, it's etched in sand. You're going to see a different depth chart next time around.
But panicking is what people live to do.
Right, especially in this
What do we do here if we're not panicking?
Right.
We don't know what to do with our hands.
Correct. Number 2, it's okay to see all of these rookies' names at the quote-unquote bottom of the depth chart because
except for BTJ.
Right, except for Brian Thomas Jr., which is the same thing as Anton Harrison last year because they are expected starters and they were first-round picks. Outside of that, you would be hard-pressed to find a rookie who isn't the last name listed on a depth chart at their appropriate position. And so that is where deep breaths, folks. It's not that Keelan Robinson is buried on the depth chart. It's not that Joshua Cephas is buried on the depth chart or Jarian Jones, for that matter. This is just simply protocol at this juncture. And you heard Ryan Nielsen say you can't put stock in this. One thing I do want to put stock in a little bit, Lauren.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting. And again, I think some of this speaks to the international pathway rules, 53-man roster rules. We don't know the timetable for Patrick Murtaugh to return, but he is still listed on the 53-man roster despite the ankle injury that he suffered, that he posted over the weekend on Instagram, that he did have successful surgery. So I'm just curious if that's like a pathway thing where like we knew he was going to be on the roster anyways, being the Australian-born player and the designated international pathway player, versus what we discussed with Dewey Wingard, where there's also no timetable. It's not season ending from what Doug Peterson said, but they don't know if he's going to begin the season on IR. They don't know if he'll be available week 1. And so again, that's where this roster fluctuation, those of you panicking because Darnell Savage is listed ahead of Antonio Johnson, like, deep breaths, folks. This is just simply trying to get all of the names to fit on one piece of paper.
Yeah, there's a lot of names to fit on this first depth chart.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're not going to remove a guy like Murtaugh until he's placed on injured reserve, which I do expect to happen, because whenever you do see someone have an injury like we saw him suffer and then have surgery, then my expectation is that he's out for, if not the entire season, certainly months on end. And so therefore he'd miss enough to go on IR. So the interesting part to your point, though, is Dewey Wingard going to be on IR?
Yeah.
That's what we are not sure about at this point in time because we don't know the severity of the knee injury.
And by the way, Tanner Muse is listed as a linebacker on the Jaguars' first depth chart.
That doesn't surprise me based off of what we've seen him do in coverage as far as training camp practices to this point. All right, let's say hello to Matt Hayes.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
All right, Matt, for the next 2 hours, you're going to break down the FSU special teams part of practice. Because they worked on special teams a little too much for my liking.
First off, who's drinking that?
That's mine.
Diet Mountain Dew.
You know I love Diet Mountain Dew.
That's hardcore. Yeah, it was a lot of fun out there, actually. A lot of fun. You know, I tweeted out Mike Norvell's a lunatic, and I say that in the most lovingly endearing way.
Oh, I quoted
possible.
you already because I couldn't agree
he's-
more.
He's like
He's a screamer.
Put it this way: there's 180-degree difference from a pro practice and a college practice.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more intensity, a lot more emotion. And that's kind of the way it is with young guys. That's how you get the young guys going. It's different when you're talking about older guys and grown men. Boy, they look good out there. Their lines of scrimmage are big and they're fast. They're athletic. It's going to come down to DJU.
Yeah.
If DJU can play well, I think they got a chance to get in the playoffs.
Because that was my takeaway, Matt. When you look at that wide receiver room, there's going to be so much speculation and just concern made because Keon Coleman leaves for the NFL draft. Johnny Wilson, you lose to the NFL draft. And the cupboard is not bare there. But do they have a quarterback who can get them the football?
Yeah, I think so. And I also think, by the way, Hakeem Williams, who was kind of held out a little bit, my God. He was like a spindly guy last year.
He's put on a lot of muscle.
He's put on some muscle, and that dude is the fastest guy on the team. Like, if he gets going, that's going to be a problem for people.
Does DJ have to be Jordan Travis level, do you think, for them to be able to have close to a season they did last season?
Not with that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, that defense, wow. They're really good in the front seven. I think they'll get better in the secondary. But, man, I mean, like Marvin Jones Jr., my God. I don't know how Curry let him get away. I'll tell you that right now. That's a grown man. He and Peyton on the edge like that, that's going to cause a lot of problems for people in the ACC. And, frankly, if they get to the playoff for others. They look good. They look good on the lines of scrimmage, which is what really surprised me. Like, when you can stand up close. And I say this all the time, like, when the national championship game comes and the game's over and, you know, they're on the stage and the confetti's falling down and you look on the stage, they're all grown men.
Mm-hmm.
They're all grown men. And out there at that practice day, I kept saying that to myself. These are all grown men here. There's no, like, small guys. There's no small guys in the offensive line. There's no 270-pound guys on the defensive line. These are all grown men out there.
Like, thanks, Portal.
Right. Well, it's that and it's development. It's both. Yeah, you're right. But Portal, you're right. To your point, it's a lot of the Portal, yeah.
Even DJ's a big guy. That's another
He's
thing we were
one of the biggest guys on the team,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
All right, what's coming up on XL Primetime?
We're going to talk about the Knowles. We're going to talk about the Jags, and we're going to continue to break down what the potential 53-man roster could be.
It's hard to do right now.
It is.
Because I think a lot of players on that back end have made splash plays to this point. So good luck with that.
You're not panicking at the depth chart that was released yesterday?
No. Not yet. Not yet.
We had some Heeligans text in and say they want to panic, though, Matt. They want to be panicked.
Yeah. I don't think you can this early. I was
Give
accused.
Matt a couple of weeks.
Right. I was accused of panicking over Trevor Lawrence, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to panic about him over the next 3 days. So Yeah, it's early. It's early. We'll see.
Yeah.
I love when accusations fly. All right, thanks, Matt.
All right, thanks, Shel.
All right, that's going to do it for us today. Again, we are off air tomorrow. We'll be back on a Feel Good Friday on Friday. Although, Taylor, you have the day off, so we'll send you some Feel Good vibes from here.
There you go.
For Taylor Dahl, for Mia O'Brien, for RJ Saunders, and for Dylan Denmark filling in the first hour, I'm Lauren Brooks. Don't go anywhere. XL Primetime is next. These heels are made for talking. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Yeah. You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet. You keep saying when you ought to be a-changing. Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you.
This hour of Helmets and Heels is brought to you by First Coast Honda Dealers.
I want you to promise me something. I want you to play life just like you played that game today. So when that final buzzer of life goes off, you'll have no regrets.
1010XL.
Mia here, and when I was buying a new construction home last summer, there was no question. Dream